Welcome to a new episode of Cyber Review. Today we are talking with Dr. Mansur Hasib about his book, Cybersecurity Leadership. Dr. Mansur Hasib is passionate about bringing out the greatness that exists with every human being and company. He is the host of the weekly video podcast series, Conversations with Dr. Cybersecurity, where he engages with people globally and discusses a wide range of issues. He's also the author of the book that we're going to be discussing today, which has been widely acclaimed by practitioners and scholars alike and is listed among the best-selling cybersecurity books of all times. Thank you, Dr. Mansur, for joining us. How are you?
I am well. It's a beautiful day. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into cybersecurity?
Oh, this is a very interesting question because when I got into it, no school, college, or university was teaching it. And one of the things that's about me is I love to network, and I network with people for all ages. And what I was doing was I was actually in a doctoral program in political science at Emory University. And one of the things that I do is I used to play bridge. I don't play bridge anymore, but I used to play bridge, the card game bridge.
Yes.
And I would invite people over to my house and we would have dinner and bridge. And so I'd invited some senior students to come and play bridge, have dinner and all that. And during the discussion, they started saying, hey, we need somebody in the data center. And I said, wow, somebody in the data center. We have a data center and all that. So I didn't even know any of this. So then I said, well, what does the person do? And they said, well, the person just helps other people to use the computers because a lot of people don't know how to use computers. And I said, oh, I love helping people. I can help people and I'm very good at using it. So guess what? That was a weekend. The very next Monday, I started working there. And then that's what opened up this amazing world. And I started to learn. Yeah. Well, it wasn't, the word cybersecurity didn't exist.
No, it didn't exist. So it was like technology.
Network engineering, information technology, basically network engineering, because we learned to build local area networks.
Okay.
And that's
how you started.
That's how I started.
Okay, that's a great journey.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And what made you write a book like this, Cybersecurity Leadership?
Well, that of course happened a lot later because in 2013, I did my doctoral degree in cybersecurity. And part of the reason that it took me so long was because I didn't want to do a doctoral degree in computer science or anything else, because that's what people were telling me. A doctoral degree in cybersecurity did not exist until 2010. So after I learned about it, and then 2011, I joined. And because of my prior experience in the doctoral program, I was able to do it in a very short period of time. So in 2013, I graduated. Now, once I graduated and I understood the literature, in the meantime, I had already been practicing as a chief information officer for roughly 10 years at that time. And I noticed that people were graduating from universities and they really didn't know the field. We had to teach them everything. And so I decided, okay, the best way to fix this and the best way to use my doctoral degree now is to go into teaching, because I also felt like I needed to bring up the other generation. I've always enjoyed teaching. I've always enjoyed helping the next generation because that's how I learned also. So that's why I wrote the book, because I wanted to address it to two kinds of people. One, people already in the field or trying to get into the field, as well as normal business people. Because I found out that many people don't even understand what this cybersecurity is or the importance of leadership or people in the field. They were all focused on technology. And I was like, it doesn't matter what technology you have. If you don't do leadership and if you don't have the right people, you will never succeed. So that's why I wrote the book.
Well, that's an interesting point of view and how you came up with this book. So you wrote this book back in 2014, and cybersecurity has building up some complexity over the years. So do you think new leadership skills are needed for the CSOs and CISOs of tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. Because if you look at the literature on leadership, and even in my book, the literature on leadership that I used has been around from the 1960s or so. The literature on leadership is very mature. What I did was I applied that to the discipline of information technology and cybersecurity, because a lot of people were forgetting about that. They were going into management, because in the meantime, what happened in the 1970s was we had these MBA schools, and then management became a very big thing. Now, management is very different from leadership, because management is interested in process. Leadership is interested in the outcome. Now, why is leadership important in cybersecurity? Because cybersecurity is all about innovation. If you don't do innovation, you will never succeed. As you just mentioned, the field is constantly evolving, changing, and things like that. So who innovates? It's people. And if you are too focused on the process, you will suppress innovation. And that we can never do in the field of cybersecurity. So this is why I felt like I needed to apply those time-honored principles, the time-tested principles of leadership into the field, and demonstrate that it is perpetual innovation. And that has not changed. I mean, how did America become what we are? Through incredible amounts of innovation by lots of people coming from all parts of the world, in a very free society where we were able to use our brains to whatever our passion demanded. And that is the key ingredient we need in cybersecurity also. But that is also the way to help a business succeed. So I wanted people to understand that if you do leadership, what will happen is you will drive a culture of innovation. And then cybersecurity will become a revenue and innovation driver in the company. I assume you saw that in my book where I talked about how cybersecurity is not a cost center, it's a revenue engine. And that's the key message of this book.
Okay, so thank you. And one of the chapters of your book, which is really interesting, you mentioned that the cybersecurity dangers of outsourcing. So as a company leader, how can we mitigate those dangers now that most companies are working from home right now?
Well, one of the things we have to recognize is that people are people. And we have ethical people and unethical people. Now, ethics is a learned skill. No child is born unethical, right? It is learned. So the key is that we need to make sure that we're hiring and retaining ethical people and driving that culture of ethics throughout any company that we lead. As long as we have ethical people, and you saw that in my book, I very early talked about the importance of leadership and ethics and all that. And I tried to very carefully talk about using ethics in the recruitment process also. Because if you have unethical people, what will happen? They're going to lie to you, they're going to hide things, and you're going to have all kinds of problems, and you will have intellectual property
threats.
Insider threats, right? And you cannot fix that if you do not hire, retain, and build a culture of ethical leadership throughout a company.
So you also have another fantastic book, Bring Inner Greatness Out. So what benefits can cybersecurity professionals draw from this book?
Yes, now this is a very amazing question, mainly because even if you are the greatest person in the world in any field, if you do not know how to express your value and that greatness and create the perception of greatness in others, you will not earn your value. So in this book, Bring Inner Greatness Out, is not just for cybersecurity professionals, but what can cybersecurity professionals get out of it? Well, in there, I have stories of real cybersecurity professionals whom I have mentored and educated, and they were fresh graduates. But how did they become globally famous very quickly? So if you go through the book, you will probably have seen that many of my graduates became world famous very quickly and earned awards very quickly. Why did that happen? Because they learned to bring all of themselves to any experience. So when they were talking, they weren't using PowerPoint slides and doing boring presentations like some other people. They brought music, dance, this, that, poetry, and all of a sudden, what did they do? They made the field exciting. Why? Imparting their personality. This is what I show in the book, how to use personal branding that anybody can do. And what it will do is result in dramatic raises, promotions, new jobs. I mean, most people who have gone through the book, if they practice it for 1 year, they see amazing results. Most people have doubled their salaries and things like that within a year. Some have even seen results in 2 weeks, which is pretty amazing. So that's why I wrote the book, because most people, they think that, okay, if I'm good technically, that's sufficient. No, that's not sufficient.
You need to be
As a matter of fact, what you're doing right now,
out.
yes, you need to bring your greatness out. And actually what you're doing right now is an aspect of that. This whole conversation that you're doing with various people, what is it? That is an example I show in the book also. It's called Cross-Brand Promotion.
That sounds like an amazing book. So where can we get both books?
Well, the both books are available at any place that you want, Amazon, Kobo, Apple, whatever. But if you really want signed copies of books, because in the United States, you can get signed copies from me directly, the best place to get it at a very good discount is my website, which is www.cybersecurityleadership.com.
Okay, great. Awesome. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mansur. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And we wish you all the best with your new book and with your cybersecurity leadership book as well.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Sofia. Very nice chatting with you.